That was Nathan and I celebrating a goal at the Cardiff City Stadium last season. On the whole, the Bluebirds were amazing throughout, but what of the opposition's fans? Who were the best away supporters and who were the worst? Let's find out as I rank the Premier League fans who attended games at the Cardiff City Stadium from 19th to 1st. In 19th and last position, I've gone for Burnley now. I do have a little bit of sympathy for Burnley because this game was rearranged to a Sunday at 4 p.m. And travelling down from the northwest down to South Wales and getting back again on a Sunday can be quite tricky when there's a lack of public transport. But bringing just 718 fans in the Premier League is nothing short of disgraceful. They were very poor as well, really quiet from the Burnley fans throughout this match. Maybe they were drowned out by the Cardiff fans, but they eventually won this game, and at the end of the match they did raise a little bit of a cheer, but on the whole they were very, very quiet. I remember way back in the day as well when both Burnley and Cardiff were in the old 4th Division, and they brought at least a couple of thousand down to Ninian Park back then. So Burnley for that and your lack of atmosphere, you're in 19th. In 18th position, I've gone for Fulham now. A couple of things spring to mind when remembering the game against Fulham. A lack of passion and, I'm sorry to say, arrogance. I think the Fulham fans thought that Fulham could rock up at the Cardiff City Stadium, play their pretty football and come away with the 3 points, but that's not how football works. On the day, Cardiff won 4-2, and Fulham, who brought 1,840 fans on the day, they didn't get behind their team at all. They took the lead at 1-0, and you heard murmurings of we're the greatest team in football the world has ever seen, but apart from that, they didn't get behind their team at all. Very, very quiet, really disappointed in Fulham. I don't know, maybe they were missing their clappers that they gave out at Craven Cottage, but really poor from Fulham. In 17th position, I've gone for a bit of a shock. I've gone for Huddersfield Town now. This surprised me really at how quiet Huddersfield were on the day. They were backed by 1,129 Terriers fans, but on the whole, quiet. When they did attack their end, where their fans were in the corner of the stadium, they did get a little bit excited and got behind their team a little bit, but overall, very, very quiet. I know it was probably the worst game of the season at the Cardiff City Stadium, so it didn't really help that it was a drab 0-0 draw, but overall, they should really have got behind their team a lot better, and I was really surprised how quiet the Terriers fans were, especially as they built up this reputation as some of those most passionate and vocal in the division. I'm afraid Huddersfield 17th position this season. In 16th position, another shock. I've gone for Newcastle United now. They were backed by a good away following of 2,157 fans, which was great because it was a 12:30 kickoff on Saturday afternoon, and it was the first home match for Cardiff at the Cardiff City Stadium. So you would have thought first match of the season or away match of the season, they would have been loud and everything, but they were really quiet, which was a massive surprise to me, especially after the 2016-17 championship winning campaign where they finished as title winners. I think they were one of the best, if not the best, fans to visit the Cardiff City Stadium that season, but on this occasion they were quite quiet. Well, they were quiet. They had a chance to win this match right at the death. It was 0-0, and in the final minute they had a penalty, but they couldn't convert it, so disappointment there for the Newcastle United faithful. And in this ranking table, they finished 16th. In 15th position, I've gone for Bournemouth. Now, the Cherries brought 1,819 fans on a Saturday afternoon. I think the kickoff for this one was 5:30. Special mention to the Bournemouth fans as they behaved impeccably and observed the 1 minute silence in honour of Emiliano Sala. So, respect to the Cherries fans for that. As for the match itself, they did start off really well, really getting behind their team, but the songs dried out and they lost the match 2-0 in the end. And apart from the first, 15-20 minutes or so, they were fairly quiet. So Bournemouth, overall, you got good fans, but 15th in this ranking table for you. In 14th position, I've gone for Tottenham Hotspur. Now, this was played at 5:30 on New Year's Day. I think this was live on Sky as well, or BT Sport. Now, Spurs themselves, the team, started off very well. They went in at half-time 3-0 up. From a Spurs fan's point of view in the first half, they were quite loud. They sing out the usual when the Spurs go marching in, and Harry Kane is one of our own, and there's only one Son. Apart from that, they didn't have a wide variety of songs. They were fairly loud. But second half, the game was already wrapped up, at the end of the first half. So second half, they were fairly quiet. And that was a little bit disappointing from my point of view. First half, they were okay. But in the interests of this video, they're in 14th position. In 13th position, I've gone for Arsenal, the Gunners. Now, they came with 3,119 fans. This took place on a Sunday lunchtime at 1:30. They were fairly quiet, apart from when they scored, so it was a case of sing when you're winning. There was chants of, the usual Arsenal, 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 and a song about Aubameyang, which went, Aubameyang, Aubameyang. So their repertoire was not great, to say the least. Only really loud once they'd scored. Apart from that, I think they must have been just drowned out by the Cardiff City fans, and fairly disappointing overall from the Gunners fans. In 12th position, I've gone for West Ham, the Hammers. Now, they were backed by 3,055 fans who made the journey to the Cardiff City Stadium. They started off quite well, fairly loud, but with West Ham, their repertoire as well was very limited. They had the usual renditions of I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles, but I've got a massive issue with that song. It's not really a stirring song, something you can really get behind your team with. Apart from that, overall very quiet. They lost the game 2-0, so after that initial burst in the first half, the first 10-15 minutes, they went very quiet. So overall, I was disappointed by the West Ham fans in this fixture. In 11th position, I've gone for Chelsea. Now, they were backed by 3,022 fans who made the journey to the Cardiff City Stadium. Started off really well, loud as well, chanting, singing before the match had even started, which was very good to see. However, Cardiff took the lead and kept that lead for the majority of the match. And during that time, the fans turned on their manager and were singing, songs against the manager. So they've really got to take a good look at themselves, especially with the season that they had, winning the Europa League. I think they were in the 5th round of the FA Cup, runners-up in the EFL Cup, and finishing 3rd in the Premier League. So overall, not a bad season. And to have a go at the manager when they should be backing the players to try and get back into a match, which they eventually did in the end, was nothing short of disgraceful. And on another day, I could put them at the bottom of this table. However, the end of the match, they had those 2 late goals, one of them controversial, of course, and they win the game, and the Chelsea fans, you could say, went home happy, I suppose. In 10th position, I've gone for Everton, convincingly winning this match 3-0. They brought 2,960 fans to the Cardiff City Stadium, and they got behind their team, and at other times they were fairly quiet, so pretty average, I'd say, overall. Expected a lot more from the Toffees, but just okay. In 9th position, I've gone for Manchester City. Now, they were a lot louder when they came to Cardiff the season before in the FA Cup. In this one, they convincingly won the match 5-0, but I did expect a lot more from the Manchester City fans. Okay, they won it at a canter, and they were quite loud after each goal went in, but there were no sort of long periods of songs or chants, so I did expect a little bit more. So it's 9th position for Manchester City. In 8th position, I've gone for Southampton, and the Saints were backed by 2,619 fans. They started off well, but as the game wore on and they went behind, then they fell quiet. But for that first, 15-20 minutes, they were loud, but they faded, as a lot of teams did at the Cardiff City Stadium last season. Only really sang one song as well, which was When the Saints Go Marching In, so they really need to up their game and get a bit more in their repertoire, but okay overall from Southampton. In 7th position, I've gone for Liverpool, who were backed by 3,162 fans. I was quite disappointed with Liverpool, really, because they only sang consistently after their first goal. Really quiet before that, particularly in the first half, but when they did get ahead and then they scored their second goal, they were loud, and that was towards the end of the game, and they were going for the title as well with Manchester City, so they were very happy at the end of the game, and the scenes after the final whistle looked really good from the Liverpool end, but first half particularly really quiet. They were a lot louder in the 2013-2014 season, which was their last visit to the Cardiff City Stadium. Yeah, they were fantastic that day. As I said, great at the end of the game, not so good in the first half. In 6th position, I've gone for Brighton and Hove Albion. Overall, they were pretty good, singing songs throughout the match, really getting behind their team. They lost the game 2-1 in what some people could say controversial circumstances. But overall, from a fan point of view this season or last season, they were the 6th best supported team, you could say. In 5th position, I've gone for Watford. Now, they were backed by 1,891 fans. Not a massive turnout, but they won this game at a canter, winning 5-1 with Delafeu getting a hat-trick. So the Hornets fans were in fine voice. It was an evening match as well, so that's always good for an atmosphere. They sang consistently throughout the game, pretty much. Yeah, pretty loud as well. It looked fairly colourful as well, looking at the Watford end in their yellow and black replica shirts and scarves, etc. So, yeah, overall, they had an easy game. Probably had one of the best evenings of the season from a Watford point of view as well. So, yeah, 5th position for me for Watford. In 4th position, I've gone for Crystal Palace. Now, Palace were backed by approximately 3,000 fans for the final fixture of the season at the Cardiff City Stadium. They were in good voice. They played really well. They eventually won the game 3-2, although in the first half they ripped Cardiff apart. Some people say that some of their fans, the ultras that they've got in the one section of their away following is a little bit cringy, but at least they get behind the fans and, they're trying to ramp up the atmosphere and stuff. So, kudos for them for the effort there, although, as we said, it can look a little bit cringy. But overall, they backed their team well, they won the match, and overall they were very good. In 3rd position, I've gone for Wolves. Now, Wolves were backed by 2,961 supporters. Cardiff Wolves, sort of built up a little bit of a rivalry over the last few years. I don't think they were as loud as when they were in the Championship, but overall very good. A lot of banter going between the two sets of supporters, and it was an enjoyable game from a Cardiff point of view because they eventually won this match 2-1. Overall, though, yeah, Wolves, very good. 3rd position. In 2nd position, I've gone for Manchester United. Now, they were backed by 3,100 fans. The game took place on a Saturday afternoon at 5:30 in December, so the lights came on pretty soon. It was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first game in charge as well, so there was the managerial bounce. The fans were well up for it. The team was well up for it as well. Sang constantly throughout, were pretty loud, and yeah, you got to take your hat off to them. Would they have been in the same voice if Mourinho had been in charge? I doubt it, but Manchester United do have a good away following, which is in complete contrast to their home fans. So for the purpose of this video, well done Manchester United, you're in 2nd place. And in 1st position, I've gone for Leicester City. Now, Leicester were backed by 3,128 fans. This fixture took place 1 week after the helicopter disaster at the King Power Stadium. So from a Leicester City point of view, it was an emotional afternoon for their fans. They were all given scarves or t-shirts to wear as well, so it was very colourful in the Leicester end. Sang loudly throughout the match, got behind their team. They were fantastic all through the 90 minutes and even after the match as well, where the players went over to them after they won 1-0. And I think they must have stayed for about 10 or 15 minutes after the match, singing songs and clapping and cheering and stuff. So, yeah, hats off to that as well. It was a very emotional match to attend. So well done, Leicester, for finishing top of this table. Leicester always seem to bring a good number of fans to the Cardiff City Stadium and always back their team as well. So, congratulations. So that rounds up this video. How well did the away fans perform at your stadium this season? Let me know in the comments section. But for now, remember to check out some of the other videos on this channel, and I'll see you real soon.